Grind, Girls Hoops on this Thursday night, folks. Yes, it's Thursday night. We got a special guest, but I'm with my man, Coach B. What's up, Coach B?
What's going on, Tony?
Man, Thursday night.
Hang on. I'm confused now.
Oh, we gotta flip it.
Hang on, it's just not right. It's not the same. There we go.
There it is.
Now we back. Now we good.
Now we good. Well, Coach, I know you've been busy, man. I know we got a special guest tonight, all the way from Louisiana, and Miss Coach Carter. I'm excited about to hear this, man. Just listen to some of her stuff. I know she's big into softball, but I just thought with her knowledge and her 10 years experience of, with recruiting and the things that, that goes on in the recruiting world, and she can help educate some of us parents, even myself. So I'm excited, man. I've been like a kid in the candy store wait to get home to do this show tonight, Coach. I mean, I'm like, oh my God, it's like Christmas. It's like Christmas. I can't hear it, and so I think it's gonna be good for some of our parents, man. I know there's a lot of parents out there sitting by the phone for their kid to get that called and get that first offer, get that second offer, get school paid for. So as parents, we just sit around, man. We're worse than the kids. The kids are out still getting shots up, and we're sitting around talking about, babe, did you pay the phone bill? Babe, is the phone on? Is internet working? I mean, we're sitting around waiting, and so and that's what it's all about. But Coach, before we bring her on, though, I got a couple things for you, though. I know you're taking on a new job, and you're getting ready for it. I got to ask you, what's it going like so far? Getting ready to take on your new journey over at Cricket Oak.
I actually talked to the superintendent and assistant superintendent today, and I told them I was kind of surprised on some of the things they offer. On the inside, school's brand new, totally redone.
Mm-hmm.
Every classroom has, smart boards, whatever you want to call them, smart TVs, whatever. Every classroom has Chromebook cart. There's no sharing. And just the things they do, they take care of their staff more than I ever thought of that you would think of. And they're committed. I mean, the board is committed. And that's what we talk about. The board's committed to pay extra. We've seen that where they're going to pay you to be there, pay you for every time that you do something. And they expect commitment out of you by doing that. And that's raising the bar, raising the standard, raising the level. And they brought 30 new teachers in. Doesn't means they need to change, new blood, new energy. And so I've been pretty impressed with what's going on, and looking forward to getting my girls and getting in the gym.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, you talk about getting in the gym, getting the girls, and I know you've been having a lot of action on your Instagram page and your Twitter page with Cricket Oak. Getting the girls going, get them in team camps. I see some of your girls about to go off, or Paris is about to go off to hit a couple camps, which is good on your part. You're getting out there in front of coaches. It's never too late. You always want to get them out there early so coaches can evaluate them and tell them what they need to work on. Then, hey, when they come back next year, maybe they get that offer if they don't get it this year. But I got to ask, like I said, I know. When you was at Harry, you kind of had the tipping club, and a lot of programs have that. Are you guys gonna carry that over at Cricket Oak?
That's the plan. There's a lot of things that we take for granted that have not been done there. Tipping club might be an example. We talk about the coaching. We know the history of the coaching there. It's a new coach every year, new change. And then you got to win to make people involved. So that's the first thing we got to do is get some dubs and be consistent with what we're doing and have a vision. We talk about winning, but you got to have a vision building a program. Where do you want to be at this time during Christmas? Where do you want to be in February? Where do you want to be next year? Where do you want to be 3 years down the line? We talk about Paris and the 2029 kids. Where do we want to be there next year as juniors, as seniors? And you got to have that vision, and then you just kind of plug along and you stay and you keep telling people what you're talking about, and eventually they'll buy in. But you can't change it, but you got to have a vision where you're at. And we talk about the athletic program. We're going to build a new football field, new softball field, new soccer. It's going to have soccer in the football field, all turf, new weight room. Gymnasium is going to come after that. So there's a vision there in the athletic program. And as far as the school, we talk about hiring them people. And so, we talk about tipping club. I think you got to tell people that there's a reason. You do it at Carl Albert. Parents at Harry were great. We feeding the kids before games. They eat at 11 o'clock, and then they not play till 6. They got to have something to eat, and some of the kids, depending on where the demographics are, they may not have any money. You can go down the road, get something to eat. They may not have that money.
That's it.
And you've got to have a tipping club or some involvement from the parents to help that out. And even on home games, people think just away games. Where these kids gonna go? They ain't got no car. They're gonna hang out in the gym, and you can feed them right, or you can let them eat nachos at a concession stand. One or two. Just saying.
Then they got bubble guts, coach. They got bubble guts, if they're
Yeah.
eating nachos, especially if the cheese been sitting there for 3 years in the
Yeah.
cabinet, coach. We don't know who's checking them dates.
Hey,
Ain't like you
hey,
got a safety man back there checking them, coach.
it
But
ain't that queso at the Mexican restaurant. It's the queso from Sam's. Just saying.
coach, you talking about, coach, give me out, coach. I gotta go use the restroom, coach. I got bubble guts. I gotta go, coach. I gotta go. But no, coach, I do believe in the tip-in club, and Colorado had a great one last year. I don't think they're gonna have one this year. It's kind of sad for the girls because what we got a chance to do with the tip-in club, the things they got a chance to buy, from the traveling gear, from shoes to the backpacks, so everything they had was all
Nice.
taken care of by the tip-in club. Eating, girls ate good. Pretty much had Jimmy John's or Cane's or that favorite chicken that I don't care for.
Yeah.
What is it? God's chicken.
Yeah. The salted chicken.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A. So but I mean, they took it away, and it's a sad deal. I mean, I know a lot of moms and was involved in it, and dads and people just involved in, and so now you're wondering where that money's going to come from. I mean, is the athletic department going to come out and get that covered or what? But like I said, I hope they can still do the same things, because I'm gonna be kind of biased and kind of precious a little bit. If my baby was eating caviar last year,
Yep.
she gonna eat caviar again this year. I mean, just keeping it 100, LB. If we had it last year, we got to have it again this year. And so my baby got spoiled as a freshman. Like you said, she couldn't drive. So daddy was going to pick up that Chick-fil-A, that golden chicken, you know what I'm saying? She's going to pick up them Canes and that with that special sauce. And he was picking up that Jimmy John's or hot fire subs or whatever we had. But, we got a chance to stay in nice hotels. We got a chance to go do nice things. When we went to Tournament of Champions, when we went to Arkansas, the girls got to do different adventures. So I want to know who's going to come up with that money, who's going to be the one that's going to carry that money and take care of that, because we're still going to some out-of-town tournaments. We're still going to have to feed the kids. So hopefully they can come up with some kind of program, because like I said, we did have a lot going towards when we had, last year when we had the car Chevy, Convent Chevrolet coming and do a tournament. So we earned probably almost $24,000 with the girls and boys. So that's a lot of money, carrying over. And at the end, we had a chance to pay for the girls' state championship ring. So, folks, if you are doing a tip-in club for your high school, I think you need it, because I think it helps. From one, I'm not going to be a parent that's going to go out, and this is my fifth kid. I'm not going to be the one that's going to go out and fundraise and say, hey, Bobby, will you buy some cookies for me? For my daughter can travel? I'm not going to be that guy. When I went out and earned money and knocked on doors and asked people, hey, do you want to donate? Especially being a state champion now, it'd been easy to go get the money. Hey, come support CA ladies basketball. We are state champions. Come hang out with us with the banner on the wall. But, now we don't. But that's just a tough subject I want to touch on you, because I know you're starting a new school. Some of the things that you want to do with it, was you plan on trying to have a tip-in club for your new team?
Yeah, I mean, you got to have one, even if it's just a small one. The only thing I fear is that not every parent's going to get involved, but you know what? You do what you do for your kid, and you want your kid to, we're not going to sit here and talk dollars on every parent, but you know what? If I want my kid to do good, then you know what? If I got to cover Susie over here, then I'll do it. So, that way. Well, I'm going to tell you, those kids look forward to it. They look forward to that bag that some parent have made, and it's got Chick-fil-A or Cane's or whatever may be in it, Subway, Jimmy John's. Those kids look forward to that. I mean, and you talk about team bonding. What's better than your team sitting together in the stands, eating their lunch, watching or dinner, watching the JV teams play or something?
That's it.
I mean, it is team bonding. So we're gonna work at it. We're gonna give it a go. And I got some parents I think that'll help. And it should be something new, and it's gonna be consistent. I think. The other thing I say on tipping club sometimes is if I got $10,000, Mr. Johnson gives me $10,000, I'm probably gonna spend 8 of it and roll over 2. I'm not going to save it for a rainy day the next time. I'm only use 3 and roll over 7. I'm going to use your money for your kid, and I'm not going to drain it dry. I got to leave a little bit to start with.
You got to have to start with.
We're going to spend it. I mean, if it means I got to get shirts every week, do that to spend that money. I'm going to spend your money, Tony. So if you give
spend it, that's why I'm not out there earning it. I want you to spend it. Spend every penny of it. But Coach, I know Miss Carter's in the back and she ready to come on. She heard Tipping Club. She laughing at us like, these Oklahoma guys some fools, man. I thought they just had tornadoes out there. These two are some fools right here. I can't wait to get on here and start clowning with these fools. But hey, let's bring her. We ain't gonna buzzer her. We're gonna whistle her because I'm pretty sure she's been kicked out somebody's game before. Here we go. Coming to the table, Miss Carter.
Ooh, let me find where she's at. There she
Where's
is.
she at? Hey, Miss
Hey.
Carter, how
Don't be
you
telling
doing
my
this
secrets.
evening?
Got me kicked out of games. Don't be telling my secrets.
Ah! Hey, if you ain't being kicked out, you ain't coaching right,
You
and
ain't
you ain't doing your
exactly.
job right. You got to get kicked out at least one time. Then you learn your lesson. Your mama used to say,
Absolutely.
a hard head makes a soft booty. That's what I'm trying to say right there.
Right.
But Miss Carter,
That's right.
we glad you could join me and Coach Vick tonight, man. Like I said, I'm excited about doing this show, man. I think it's we've done a lot of people have college coaches on, but just listen to some of your stuff that you talk about recruiting with, basketball, softball. I know you're big into softball, but I just think that some of the stuff that you talk about, people need to hear. It's always good when they hear from somebody they don't know because I think it sticks harder to the head because you're like, I've heard this before, but now somebody else is saying it. So if you can, tell us a little bit about yourself, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, my name is Coach Ashley Carter. I have over 23 years of coaching experience. I've coached at every level possible: middle school, high school, community college, NAIA, Division One, Division Two. My highest level of coaching has been at the University of Washington, so Power Five schools. I've also spent some time with HBCUs. I'm an HBCU grad from Grambling State University, Division
Okay.
One athlete for softball. But the truth is, basketball is my first true love. So I'm super glad that I was able to jump in and talk a little bit about basketball. I've won a lot of championships on the basketball side, state championship as a high school player, coached a couple championship teams in middle school, coached in high school a little bit, state championship team as well. Did a little bit of AAU a couple years ago, had a little 14U team. So basketball is still my favorite sport, man. But softball got me where I am today, and that's what people know me for. So I kind of talk a little bit of both, but that's a little bit about myself. I grew up in the Bay Area, California. Spent some time in Colorado, spent some time in New Mexico, spent some time in Virginia, Louisiana, Seattle. So I've been a few different places as well.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. So you pretty much educate parents. I mean, like I said, watch some yourself, with the basketball and softball. But tell us some tips that parents need to know because I think sometimes we get caught up thinking, hey, the day is, about the session, like you said, you done coach at the AAU circuit. I mean, I don't know what circuit you're
Yeah.
on, Adidas, Under Armour, whoever, EYBL, but it seems like the day, everybody, the circuit ends on Monday and Tuesday. It seems like everybody is standing by their phone call, waiting for that phone call. Hey, I'm about to get my first offer. And
Yeah.
then, like I said earlier today, babe, did you pay the phone bill? Is the internet on? And no one's got that call. So
Yeah.
what do you think it is that draws parents and kids? I think it's more the parent and kids too, because they're out there doing the hard work. But what do you think it is that causes this conflict?
As far as like not getting phone calls.
Yeah, phone calls. I mean, because at the end of the day, you see some girls getting. I mean, you got kids getting. You see, I know a couple girls that's really, really solid, and they haven't got anything yet. Me and Coach Vick, we
Yeah,
do the
yeah, yeah.
show, and then I see some girls that's class of 2031, 2030, and 2031 getting
Need
offers. I'm
some
like,
love.
them girls, they're still drinking warm milk.
Uh-huh,
I
uh-huh,
mean,
uh-huh.
so I mean, what do you
Yeah,
think it
I think
is?
yeah, I think there's a lot of layers to it. I think on one side, you got to understand this, like from a college coach's perspective, we recognize that when we're recruiting an athlete, we're recruiting what comes with the athlete. And coaches got to decide right away, do I want to deal with what comes with the athlete or not? So that's one side of it, right? If the athlete's good enough, coaches are willing to do a little bit more to deal with if that's the case, right? The other side of it, though, I think is where I spend a lot of my time in my program is sort of the identity piece and like, who am I and how do I let my strength shine? I think the biggest issue that our athletes face today is they don't know who they are. They're looking in the mirror of somebody else's mirror to determine what they think they should be doing. I even think when it comes to recruiting, I think what happens a lot of times is, well, what do the coaches want to see in me?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, if that ain't in you already, it don't matter if they try to see it in you because it's inauthentic. So I think part of the problem that we have to face with this whole youth sports epidemic is really learning more about what are my strengths, what are my skills that I bring to the table, and then how do I market that And then how do the right coaches who appreciate and value that find that in me, right? And that does take some marketing. There's so many layers to it, but I think that's the two sides to it. If you're skilled enough, do I want to deal with what comes with you? But more times than not, you don't know enough about who you are to market who you are, because you're trying to be something that you're not most times.
So if
Yes,
you
sir.
like let's say in softball terms, okay, um, you know, I see a girl over here and she's swinging for the fences, and I
Yeah,
think that she got offers. She got offers, and I'm a small ball player. I'm gonna advance. I'm gonna slap. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna get that girl to second so we can be one hit away from a run. And that's more my
exactly.
style. But I'm seeing everybody else hit home runs. And I'm thinking, you know what? They're getting all the glory and they're getting all the offers. Me, I'm not hitting
Absolutely.
home runs. So let me change my game to what it really is. And really, I'm looking bad because I'm striking out probably more, hitting more pop flies. But you're
Yep.
not seeing me, and you should
Yep.
be seeing me saying, you know what? I need him as a leadoff. I need him as a second hole, so that way I can
Exactly.
advance and get my third and four hole up to get a fly
Yeah.
ball or get advance that runner. Is that an
Absolutely.
example what you're talking about?
Exactly what I'm talking about. Because here's the thing. Here's what coaches want to know, right? What is your strength? Number two, they want to know, why should I care that you have that strength? And number three is, how does that help me win a championship? What athletes struggle to answer are those three questions. And so what ends up happening is they try to be something that they're not. Now, your example, I got a slapper with speed who can move runners and score runners. So for me, I can get on base, create chaos, which allows us to get runners on base. If we don't have runners on base, it don't matter because we're only going to get one run versus three or four runs by having
Mhm.
runners on base and being able to move the runners. So I want to sell to the coach, like, my job is to keep the offensive production going. My job is to ensure that I'm creating chaos every time I come up to bat. They don't know what I'm going to do. They don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to get it done.
Right.
And that's going to help us be successful. And then how does it help me win a championship? Well, when I'm able to keep runners on base, that gives us more opportunities to get RBIs and score runs, right? So the same is true. Like when you have someone on basketball, it's like somebody could be a really great, like, I'll give you an example. I had triple doubles a lot of my high school season, right? I got good rebounds, I scored points, but I had a lot of assists or steals. It depended on the game. But the assists become really important. Can I see the floor clear enough to
Right.
manage the floor and pass the
Mhm.
ball to give them a good shot, right? Now, most people are going to see the person that got the good shot. But man, if you could own the fact that, like, I can see the floor really, really well, and I can
Mm-hmm.
throw a dime in a second and get that person get a good layup, get a good 3-point shot, help us advance the game. If I can own that part of myself, man, that's awesome. If defense is my thing, I'm gonna get steals because I can anticipate you going over here and I know what you about to do next. I'm gonna cut you off and I'm gonna go get a layup. Like, if you can own those parts of the game, like, that's cool, right? That's, but you gotta own that part.
Right.
You're not just the point guard or 3-point shooter. You might be the three guard. You know what I'm saying? So I think it really plays into just knowing where your strengths are and then how to speak about them. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there, how do you market that? So what videos do you post that match those, that words that you say in your emails and in your
Right.
social media?
Is that picking the right program? Because we talk about like you say, you're a slapper, you're a hitter. If you're a slapper, you don't want to go to a home run. Even though maybe your dream school, you're
Yeah.
never gonna fit in. You're never gonna
You
fit. I mean,
too.
if
You
you
speak my
are a
language today. You
if
speak my
you're
language today. Yeah, I always say this, man. Like, just because people don't see your value does not mean you're not valuable.
That's
But
it.
if you find the
Mhm.
person that sees your value, you will feel valued forever, right? So that's so true. And I think the other side of it is, like, most teams will like a variation, right? But you said there's a lights and there's a glimmer around, like hitting home runs. Everybody run out and get all
Yeah.
excited. But man, what could be one run turns into four runs if you have me, you know? Like, if you could
Right.
speak that language, it's like, oh, like, say that confidently. A coach can be like, dang, you right, you know? But
Mhm.
yes, it is all about finding that right fit. And that goes back to your travel organizations that you play for, AAU teams that you play for. Because here's the truth. I have some athletes who are dealing with this right now, where they are facing, like, the program that I'm in doesn't necessarily fit what I bring to the table, and I'm having to determine now, do I value my strengths more, or do I value this name more? And
Right.
there's a balance between both.
Yes.
But I think at the end of the day, you got to be able to bet on yourself, you know. And if you can't bet on yourself, then get better at betting on yourself. Okay, like,
Yeah.
don't
Right.
get better at trying to be something you're not.
No, I,
Right.
I think that's the real talk right there. I think some kids go to programs because of the names and stuff like that, and sometimes coaches want to make you be who you're really not, and so Now the kids lose confidence. I know one of the things you talk about is confidence.
Yeah,
You build confidence in
absolutely.
kids, and so I mean, tell us a little bit about that. How do you build confidence? Because I know sometimes, especially with like you talk about a softball. I think softball to me, I've coached softball. My daughter plays softball, but I think softball is tougher than girls basketball because if you're not hitting and you're not pitching, you're falling
Yeah.
behind. And I mean, you get to the gym and it's hot, you know what I'm saying? So you're
Yeah.
going through the struggles of being hot and like you said, if you're not hitting, everybody sees when you strike out, or if you're a pitcher when you're getting bombs hit on you, everybody see you getting bombs hit on you. But basketball, yeah, you
Absolutely.
might miss a shot, but you got somebody else that
Short-term
might pick
memory.
you up. But I mean,
Yeah.
so how do you build a confidence in girls that I mean even basketball in softball?
Yeah, for sure. I love basketball for a lot of different reasons. But number one, I always tell, like when I have a softball player that played basketball, I love it because basketball is a short-term memory sport. You got to basically get over it and get moving because the game is still going on, whether you missed
Mhm.
that shot, passed that, made a bad pass or not. It's going on, right? But softball is a little slower, so like you have time to settle in and sit in your feelings and your thoughts and all the things. So resets are really important. Routines are really important. But to answer the first part of the question, what we have to do with a lot of my athletes, what we do is we watch film of ourselves. And what we want to do is pay attention to what situations are we mainly in. So this is the beginning layers of determining what our three strengths are. We sit in and we watch a little bit of what we do on offense, and then we sit and watch a little bit on defense. Okay, so on offense, what number am I batting in the lineup? What is the role of that person in the lineup? What's usually scenarios? Is there usually runners on base and first base? Or are there usually runners at second base? Am I usually moving them or am I usually scoring them? Or are there usually nobody on base and am I getting on base? So we're taking all of these versions of what's happening in the game and kind of doing a little research on what naturally is going on. And then we're using that to say, okay, well, it looks like majority of the time nobody's on base when I get up to bat, which means my coach probably wants me to see good pitches. My coach probably wants me to help my team see more pitches. They probably want me to pick the best pitch for me to get a base hit, not to just hit the ball. Because if you're just hitting the ball to hit a pop fly, that's an out. But if you're
Mhm.
being strategic in how you're at bat and you're finding balls that you can get, okay, let me just get it between the infield and outfield. Let me get in the gaps. Now I'm becoming a base runner. You become more valuable because you own that part of you. But if you get up to bat, nobody's on base, and you trying to hit home runs, and all you do is pop fly, you're not as valuable in that moment. Your skills not as valuable in that moment because you're not doing anything to help the team produce more runs, right? So we'll do that. So I think even in the basketball side, that's something you should pay attention to. Majority of times when I'm getting the ball is in transition. Is it when it's a set defense or set offense? And am I usually the one that's kind of down low or up high? Or what's the transitions that usually happen when I'm in the game? And how do I pay attention to that? How do I become an asset in this moment? Versus just a standbyer because we got people that just like to watch but
Right.
how can I be somebody that doesn't just be a bystander and somebody that's actually uh creating themselves to be an asset in that part? Like, can I get a good pick? Can I get a good roll off of this? Can I get a good kick and drive? Like, what can I do in this moment, or what do I naturally do in this moment to help myself stand out? So that's the first part, because the truth of the matter is, the more situations we're in, the more we can find confidence in those situations versus being in a situation that I'm not usually in and then I fail at it. The truth is, you can never succeed in a moment that you can't control or that's not for you,
Mhm.
right? You can only succeed and measure your success on the things that you can do well. So I'll give you an example of this. With my pitchers, we had a call the other day, and we were talking about um, their strength statements. And one of the girls was like, "Oh, I'm a movement pitcher who can get ground balls and pop flies for my defense to get outs." And in this statement, I asked you, what a part of that statement can you actually control? And it's like, okay, I can control the movement and I can control the location, but I really can't control anything else. So if I measured my success of the fact that my defense gets ground balls, but they don't get the outs because they make
Mhm.
errors, if I measured my success off of them getting the defensive side to it, I would never succeed.
Yes.
But if
Yeah.
I can measure myself off of the fact that I was able to spin the ball well and get good movement and get those weak ground balls, that's the best I can do.
Yeah. I had a picture like
So
that when I did softball. I first started, you had to be assistant and everything. So I was assistant softball. We had a really good pitcher. I mean, her ERA was like maybe not even a one, but she still was like 10-5 because every run was I mean, it was a ground ball and a girl threw it over, didn't catch it,
Yep.
or we didn't hit the cutoff man. We tried to throw somebody out at home. You can't do anything about it. But her ERA showed that she was a good pitcher. The record did
Exactly.
not, and she can't
Exactly.
control. Like I said, can't control it. Growing on play college ball with a 10-5 record now. Somebody else might have been like, you know what? I'm 12-0, but your ERA may have been a 2.5 because you had a real good
Exactly.
infield.
Yep.
And, and you're trying to compare apples to apples, and you can't there
You
in that
can't.
situation.
And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck, like parents wise. I made a video the other day about stats, and people are so quick to want to throw out stats, and for that very reason, you don't like the stats don't tell the whole story, and college coaches know that, but parents don't. So they'll measure their success or their egos of their confidence in that. When
Mm-hmm.
college coaches are like, well, but tell me the backstory because there's got to be more to it that I'm learning as I learn about this player. And so a ERA of a less than a one, I'm like, okay, that's a ding, 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 ding. Let's see what that looks like versus a
Right.
two. And then I might be like, oh, but then look at their record. Well, what happened here? Okay, I'm gonna go look and do more research versus like
Mm-hmm.
a parent or someone who just will just use what you say and go with it. Coaches aren't like that. So what athletes and parents struggle with is the fact that they don't know actually how coaches recruit, which is part of the
Oh,
Tony,
problem.
you ever seen a? Imagine if I told you Zoe was going from a point guard to a shooting guard. You'd be like, all right. But in softball, you're going from like the number 3 hole to number 7. You just kicked her off the team. I mean,
yeah,
she's like
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's getting less.
devastated. Like,
She's
I'm in
getting less at
7
bat.
hole or
She got the bat in
Exactly.
her hand less. Coach, I got a good one for you. When you talk about parents making mistakes, and I think this is a good one that all parents need to hear. What are the 3 biggest mistakes you see athletes and parents making during recruiting time? What are some of the mistakes that we make as
Uh,
parents?
okay. So number one, I'm gonna say parents put their identity or their insecurities into their players, and so this goes in many different ways. I think a lot of times out here when I reach out to families, because I do a lot of things on social media, and even my qualifying questions before I get on calls with families is always asking questions about their athletes' goals. And so when parents tell me things like, oh well she's an eighth grader but we really think she's probably a D2 D3 player, or well we want to keep our options open, and they do it kind of to be safe or because they want to keep it realistic for their daughter, when at that age group we want them to dream big. Like, bro, you're in eighth
Mhm.
grade. Like, if you're not
Yeah.
willing to invest in that, then that's on you. But if she's in eighth grade, like she should be shooting for the stars right now, and you shouldn't be putting parameters around that. So I think that's really important. The other side of that, though, I think is they're definitely trying to use their successes as their glory. So, oh well, my daughter plays for this person or that person and that team or this team. It's a clout thing for them to feel good about themselves. So that's number one, by the way. It's just two sides to it, right? Okay. So the clout chasing thing to feel good about themselves and what they're doing is something I think is really ruined the sport in general, both basketball and softball. More in basketball, I'd say for sure.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Yep.
number two thing I'm gonna say is timing. I'm gonna say, I think there are some things that you definitely like softball, for instance. I put a video out today about timing, and the reality is we don't have time. And the reality is that we can't control time, yet for some reason when it comes to recruiting we feel like we can. Now that doesn't mean that you need to go out and email and go to all the camps and things like that in seventh grade, but it does mean I need to start getting my mindset around what does it mean to be this type of athlete, like what is the
Mm-hmm.
habits that are created to be this type of athlete. And then I need to find some support that tells me what steps do I take in the journey, right? I think what happens is we kind of listen or we hear and we're like, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna wait a little bit longer because I think they got time, and it's like, oh, the time thing gets you really stuck. And I think the other thing that people might be mad about me for saying is I think people are loyal uh, sometimes too much. Families and athletes are overly loyal. So here's the thing: is like even when it comes to college coaching, I don't mind the transfer portal for a couple reasons. Number one is like if the coaches have to make a decision that's best for them and they leave a program because they got to make more money or they want to be closer to home or whatever the case may be, they're willing to make that decision. But we're asking our athletes to be loyal to somebody that might not be end up being loyal to them,
Yeah.
right? The same becomes true with travel ball. I feel like if you are in an organization and they are not like you can see they're not providing you what they said they're going to provide for you or they're not
Mhm.
giving you what they think they said they're going to give you, you have every right to ask questions, number one. And number two, if they don't answer those questions in the way that you want, it's okay to leave, you know? So I think that that's the three things. I think it's that ego thing, I think it's timing, and I think sometimes it's being overly loyal to people who are not overly loyal back to you.
No, I think that, I mean, you're hitting the nail on the hammer right there. Is that I think sometimes these coaches, when they were, especially as AU circuit, I mean, you've been on it, girls softball, boys basketball. I mean, every sport now. I mean, volleyball. It's
Mhm.
gotten to the point it's been so competitive. But I think coaches tell you what they want you to hear because they don't want to lose you because you are a
Mhm.
good player. It's like you got a top pitcher. You don't want to lose her to your competitive. Now she's pitching against you and beating you.
Yeah.
And it's like a point guard, shooting guard, or any position. I think coaches tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, and I went through this, and I'm gonna keep it real because I went through one of my sons is that I thought he was gonna go play college football, and coach was saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this, this, and this." And I remember his words like it was yesterday. He said, "Those who
Mm.
wait, good things come to him." Well, nothing ever came to him, so I was bitter for a long, long
Yeah.
time, and still bitter. But I mean,
Yeah.
I've gotten over it. I got a younger daughter that's 15. She's playing on the circuit,
Okay.
on the EYBL. But you sit back and and I know it's a process, man. I mean,
Sure.
she's a ninth grader. She's a
Yep.
good little ball player. I mean, every parent's excited when their kid get an
Of
offer, but
course. Of
the
course.
time hasn't come. So I think sometimes as parents we get so caught up, but we do hear these coaches say, "Hey, this, and this, and this." And then you start looking, you start scratching your head, like, man, he's telling me this, but I don't see,
Absolutely.
I don't see the, I don't see the end of the tunnel. I don't see no light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like I'm
Yeah.
stuck here and I'm just running in the dark. So, what's the best advice to tell parents? Like you said, I know you said move on, but
I like
how
that.
long should you wait before you
Yeah.
move on though?
So two things to that because I'm a thinker by the way, so I think like this by the way. I have all the ways to connect the dots back. So all my stories have stories, but I try to keep it streamlined. But here's the thing that my bonus to that first part was I think a lot of times families, even athletes, um, give authority for two different reasons. So number one is usually a title. Number two is usually an age. So an athlete automatically gives someone authority because of that. Parents are the same. Like, oh, that's the coach of this travel team, and that's the organizational leader, and all that. But a lot of times we don't ask more questions or even do a little bit more research on how did
Mhm.
they get that title, or do they are they qualified? More so as a question to have that title.
That's it. That's
There's a
it.
lot of situations where um, the person became the coach, their kid played or whatever, they made the team, whatever the case may be, or they got moved up, they volunteered for a long time, they moved them up. But it's like what was your experience playing at this level, or what experience do you have helping athletes get recruited to this level? Or you got to ask more questions. And I think sometimes we just are so good at like, let me just be loyal. It's like I said, and I like loyalty, but loyal to the point where we're not asking the right questions and we're letting some of these like red flags go by and we're not making any adjustments. So to answer the second part of your question is time is the one thing we don't have a lot of in this process. So
Yeah.
I would say you see something, start to ask questions. And I think don't sit back and wait and wait and wait. Start to ask questions. Okay, well, coach, I noticed that this was happening. I know coaches hate when you do that, but you got to ask questions.
Yep.
I noticed that
Yeah.
we did this and this. Just curious, like how this is working. Like, you said this earlier, tell me more. And I'm going to tell you, like, don't give them 4 or 5 chances. Give them like 2 or 3 chances. Okay. And then at some point, it's like, all right, you have the title, which gives you authority, but right now you don't have the authority over my process. I got to move on. Peace.
Gotta move on.
Yeah.
Gotta move on. Coach V, got anything?
Well, let's talk about it. I know softball is it 2 years? Does it go 12, 14, 16, 18 still?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yep. There are
So in
some weird
basketball,
states that go like 13s, 15s and stuff. Yeah.
okay. So in basketball, are you better off being an okay 18-year-old pitcher, or better being a 16-year-old pitcher that stands out? In basketball, you better playing 15 and being a kid that gets 15, 20 points, or being a 17 and under that gets 8, 6.
I love that. I love that. Funny story. I'm gonna say the second one. I think the first one. Excuse me. I believe if your age group is where you could shine, you should shine there. Especially for softball because they are early recruiting sport. Even though they don't actually sign their commitment till senior year, you get verbally committed in your junior year for most if you're on the right track, right?
Right.
And so that is actually the 16U level. So a lot of times what happens is people try to rush to the 16U level. But then there's some people that like, oh, well, I want higher competition, so I'm gonna go to the 18U level. The problem with that is that you miss the 16U level where most people are watching you at.
Mhm.
So
Right.
you got to be competitive in that 16U level. I say if you're not there yet and you're 12U, 14U, stay in 12U, 14U. But if you are at a level where you can compete, like I have a ninth grader who's played 16U, they won the national tournament in PGF and she was a catcher, So
Right.
like in that case, you need to be in that space for longer because you're going to get more exposure
Right.
versus staying at 14U. But then I have another girl who was a 2028, which is a going to be a junior. They didn't win. They were the runner ups, which is kind of cool. I had girls in both dugouts. And
Yeah.
in that case, I would start to question if you didn't get much playing time, do we need to go ahead and move up? Because in this place, you're not going to get what you need in this
Right.
age range. So go ahead and move up.
So in basketball, you're 15 and you can be the all
The
tournament
star at
player,
15, be the star at 15.
and or be 17 and just be a 6 man or get 10 points.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Well, and as I'm saying, with basketball, maybe a little bit different. I feel like senior year is a big year for y'all, junior and senior
Right.
year. So I think, yeah, like how do I build up maybe as a junior, can I be the sixth man? But in my senior year, I need to be the man.
Right.
I need to be the one of the five. So I think there's a good balance in basketball where you could, in that 10th grade, 11th grade year, learn the ropes a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
then how do I dominate in that last summer leading up to your senior year and into your senior year for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, I got another one. Then we'll get out here. I know you got other things to do, but when should kids start contacting college coaches? What freshman year, and how
Yeah.
should they approach it? I mean, I
Yep.
know they said email them and DM on Twitter and Instagram, but it really depends if the coach is following you and following you back. So, what's the best
Absolutely.
stage if you got a young lady or young man or basketball or softball player that's really want to go to college, but her game is okay,
Yeah.
but how can she get the coach to notice her?
Yeah, so I'll say it probably might be a little bit different for basketball and softball. The way that my program works is in the eighth grade year, we'll start to dibble and dabble in exposure to camps. I'm not asking you to go to a bunch, but I want you to go to one of the biggest ones in your area. So, what's the biggest school in your area? And I really want you to go there to assess. And I
Mm-hmm.
really want you to go there to evaluate and get some feedback on, like, from the coaches, like from everybody else in the country as an eighth grader, where do I stand? I really want
Right.
you to do that there. Because you're going to that camp, I'll have you just send an email because I think it's good practice. That's the only email my eighth graders will ever send, really, as I go to a camp. In the ninth grade year, we get a little bit more in tune with, okay, now we're at showcases a little bit more. We're going to camps a little bit more. So now we've practiced it in eighth grade year, which is really important to be in a safer space where we don't really care about the judgment or what they say. They ain't gonna read your email anyway, but let's practice it. Ninth grade year, we're gonna start. They're gonna be like, oh, 2031s, we are not looking at your emails. But it shifts really fast. And this is why timing is so important because you can be on track and off track within a couple of weeks and months within softball. So that's why I say in the ninth grade year, we start to go a little bit more heavy with emailing because we are doing more camps and we are playing in more showcases. And even as proof, people always say like, oh, they don't come watch you at 14U. Well, I was just at the PGF in LA, and Auburn, LSU, and Georgia were watching this 14U team. So that shows you that they are actually looking at you that young and at
Yeah.
that high level, but there's levels to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I for sure would say eighth, ninth grade year. Basketball, I would say probably that sophomore year.
Yep.
Good stuff. Coach, anything else before we let her go?
Yeah, I mean, I was at an Oklahoma Baptist NAI. All right, and
Yeah.
so I'm gonna ask you, how do you teach parents or approach parents. I know my softball coach had 9 fulls at the NAI level, and the only ones that got fulls were shortstop, pitcher, and catcher.
Up the
Everybody
middle.
else was 1,500, 2,000, whatever it may be, because she had 9 to get 20.
Yeah.
Um, and so there is a business side to that. Then now you throw in the 5-year rule. So how are you educating parents on the business side of this? That you know what, you may not get a full. We got to get the academic part. We got to package
Absolutely.
everything together.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we got the 25 roster rule too, which is now a thing for Division 1 schools. And I think with those they do fund them a little bit more if it's the right school. So we have to educate them on like not all schools will fund them. So people have assumed that when they made that rule that oh that means I'm gonna get a full ride scholarship when I go there. No, that's not the case. So yeah, in my program, before you enter my program, we do need to know what your grades are. We do need to know what track you're on as far as what honors classes you're taking, AP classes you're taking, because yes, for sure, the academic money becomes really important. From a college coach's side, I know that I had to piece things together. So we're constantly talking about that within the space. And then you get into, let's say, D3, where athletically they might not give you much money. They can't give you much money at all, if any, but they can honor a lot of different scholarships that they have within that space. In AIA, we made up scholarships. I was a director of admissions at an NAIA school, and
Mhm.
so we would make up scholarships to give money
You get
out
crafty,
sometimes.
man. You get
So
crafty
sometimes
with them.
the better schools, you might look. We got the Tuesday special. You get an extra 5,000. You know, it's like okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's all a part of it. But I do tell all my families like you shouldn't expect like that's not anything we promise. Like we don't promise you're gonna get a full ride scholarship. We're gonna promise you the right fit. We're going to help you have conversations about financially what that looks like. I think another thing families really struggle with is they don't have that conversation
Mhm.
early. Like, what can we afford in a school? What should we be looking for as far as like financially we can do? If
Yeah.
you guys don't got nothing set aside, you're done. You're having your kid hope and dream for a big school, and you can't afford it. Like community college might be the way you need to think about, and
Exactly.
that's okay. Like so I think there's just a lot of conversation I need to have earlier. But yeah, we talk about that often in our program.
Some egos get crushed a little bit on that conversation, don't they?
They do. They do. But I mean, it like uh, I hate to say it, but like, I think some of us are conditioned, like that's why we kind of have this program and confidence and things is we're conditioned by our past experiences. And so sometimes for families, like they don't know better, but they don't want to educate themselves out of fear or out of I don't know what's gonna happen. But the truth is the more you learn, the more you can make educated decisions, right? And
Mhm.
I think people got to get out of their own way sometimes with their egos and just ask more questions, find out more information. And if you don't have it, seek it so you can make better informed decisions. So
Mhm.
I'll give you an example. I know I keep going to this, but I had a girl that was a junior going into her senior year. And so she decided on committing to a D3 or was looking at D3 schools. Skill wise, it was probably the best fit for her. And then we found out that her GPA wasn't significant enough to go to that type of school. And it's just like, why did you not know this before you got to me? I thought
Right.
because they had made that decision before they got to me. So I'm just, but I'm like, okay, this is something I got to go back and make sure we talk about because,
Right.
you know, and then the kids these days don't know the difference between weighted, unweighted GPAs, and so there's that
Mhm.
too, or cumulative. They think
Yeah.
that you just want to see the one for the last semester. So it's a lot of things that go into this that people just don't know
And
that
all
we got
that's
to,
in your program, coach?
huh?
All that's discussed in your program that you
Everything.
do?
Yep. All of that. I tell people in my program, there is no reason why you should be lost in this recruiting process unless you decide not to ask questions.
Coach, I gotta ask you, like, you get girls sent into you for softball, basketball, and other sports. Do you tell the parents, hey, your baby, because each mom and dad think their baby's D1.
Is the
They're
star.
gonna get that bag. We're gonna get this and that. But do
Yeah.
you tell parents? Do you look at film? How do you break it down? And say, hey, man, your baby's not gonna be D1. She might be
Yeah.
D2. She
Yeah.
might be Division 3. She might be NI or
Yeah.
JUCO. I mean, how do you do that before
Yeah,
you
so
go?
interesting enough, I try as a better business practice to know that they're at least going to be a competitive athlete before I bring them into my program. I don't take everybody in. So we have some qualifying questions. And I'll tell you, a lot of it does come down to what they're investing. A little bit comes, and it comes into their training. Excuse me. So what are they doing? Like, I mean, are they investing in training right now? And
Mhm.
not just a weekly hitting lesson or a bi-weekly hitting lesson. I mean, are you doing strength and conditioning? Are you doing fielding training? Are you doing mental performance training? A lot of that plays into the mentality, and then of course now I'm asking what teams you play for and where they play at.
Right.
So I have a lot of qualifying questions. And the families that don't fit that, I usually say, well, usually for the athletes that do best in my program, this is what's required. So usually I avoid a lot of the not so great athletes. But yeah, even still, my program, there's levels to it, right? And I think Division 1 also has levels. There's Power Four, there's mid major, there's lower
Yeah.
level, there's HBCUs. All of those play into a timeline. All those play into a skill type. And all those play into really how early or how soon you start with all those things we talked about earlier. So yeah, so we assess all of those things. I'm actually getting to the point now where I'm only allowing eighth graders into my program pretty soon, so I can actually develop them over time with the right
Right.
things to get them in the right space. So
You have numbers, coach? Like, do you have any numbers? Like, how many's in? How many is playing
yeah, right now
professionally?
we got about
Anything like that?
48. The goal is to eventually have like 20 in each grad year. But we're going to basically have a cohort of the eighth graders that come in. And what the eighth grader is a trial period. So we go for 6 months and we basically see, okay, let me teach you the foundations of recruiting and all the things. And after the 6 months, do we feel like you're the right fit for us to keep going on? Here's the thing you have to understand. I have two markets here. I'm working with athletes who want to be recruited, right? But I'm also working with coaches who want to recruit athletes. And I need to make sure that those align. I want coaches to feel confident recruiting our athletes. I want them to know that, like, when they get our type of athletes, they're going to realize they're going to have successful athletes. Also, those athletes have to know that they are representation of our program, and what
Hmm.
they do affects what the next opportunities our athletes
Wow.
also have.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's really important for me. Like, unlike most people who do recruiting, it's like, oh, I want to take your money. I'll get you somewhere. You can leave in a year if you want to. That's not what I'm about. I'm trying to really develop the confidence on both sides from both people. So the goal is I get you in the eighth grade and move you through the journey from there. And so every cohort, we look to have 20 in each of the cohorts. Right now, we got about 48 because we haven't officially moved into that all the way yet. We just had two girls commit in the last 2 days to one to a D2, one to a D1 school. I have about three more 27s that need to get recruited. But if you come to my program, we'll find you the right fit. We'll find you a place. There's the only reason you don't get recruited is if you leave before the process ends. That's kind of how our program works.
Very
So
nice.
I've probably been able to help over, I would say, 50 girls right now find a home from this side of it. And then from the side where I actually was recruiting more for sure.
Yes, sir. Well, I
Yeah.
actually want to thank you for joining us on Between the Line Girls Hoops. The knowledge you kicked out tonight for these athletes is great. I mean, I think you educated not myself and even Coach Vick. He's been around for a long time. But I mean, the biggest decision of these kids' career is is getting recruited. I mean, at the end of the
Yeah,
day, every parent wants their kid to get
that's
recruited.
the goal.
I tell people all the time, we pay for the college. We pay for the college up front.
Up front.
When you don't when you
Three
don't
times over sometimes.
yeah, when you're on these traveling teams and
Yeah.
you're on these different hotels and eating out and plane tickets and traveling, all the stuff you do, that's paying for the scholarship. I know I had another son that went Russell. Me and him travel a lot. I'm doing it with my daughter. It does pay off, but at the end of the day, yes, they might get a full ride, but you already paid for that full ride when you started in little league and going to all these different tournaments and association
Yes.
things you do. So but at the end of the day, I think they got to be educated because, like sometimes, like I said, some of us think our babies are better than what they really are, and sometimes we got to get that pie thrown in our face and say, "Hey, wait a minute, your baby good, but she ain't that good." And there's always
That
going to be
part.
somebody better than your kid. So, and that's what you got to get educated on because, like I said, everybody got to walk their own journey. I can't walk the same journey that the girl next to me is walking because
100%.
her journey might be a totally different path that she takes than I take. And my last question I got to ask you though, because you're seeing a lot of these girls get offered at I'm gonna use 29. I'm not even gonna go 30s and 31, but you see a
Okay.
lot of these girls are getting offers at 29. Does that mean a girl that didn't get offered at 29 can end up in the same spot the girl that did get offered early at 29? Or
100%.
Okay.
100%. A lot of it comes down to marketing, right? And a lot of it comes down to exposure opportunities. That's where you invest all your school's tuition into the exposure part, right? Going to all these tournaments and things like that. But the right ones are really important. Now in softball, you don't actually get offered in your 29s. You can't get offered really until you're a junior, which is why it's so hard for people to understand. It's early recruiting, but it's not. But there's still some number layers to it. But on September 1st of your junior year, that's not the first time they know who you are or are researching you. They've researched you since you were in ninth grade, and they're understanding how to get and connected with you. That's where your coaches are come really important. This is why
Yeah.
being loyal to a team that don't see your value and never gonna sell pump you up, when they need to, is also very important. So all of these things have to align, but all these things matter, I think. And I think a lot of people want to do some things, but not all things. But you got to kind of do all the things in order to get to where you need to get to in the right way. So it's not impossible. You just got to have the right resources to make it happen.
That's it. That's it. Well, Ashley, I really appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah.
We'll put this on our page. We'll tag you, and I know you're on Twitter. We'll put it on our Twitter page,
Please
and
do.
then also our Instagram page, and tag you. Have you, tag with us, and hopefully your listeners can, check it out because, like I said, we did talk softball, we did talk
We sure
basketball,
did.
but
I got some basketball girls that
yeah.
Play softball too. Yep.
Well, that's the thing about it, man. It's just going to educate the parents of what they need to know, because a lot of these parents don't think. They just think the apple falls from the tree and you eat it, and my kid's recruited. It's not that way. You gotta be educated, and I think that's what you did tonight. And it's always good to bring somebody. Hey, one, that's your job. That's what you do. You got two guys that do a podcast. Yes, we talk a little bit, bringing somebody professional in that does this day in and day out, that knows what they're talking about. But if you real quick, tell people how they can follow you though on the show real quick. Tell them how they can follow you.
Absolutely, yeah. So 360_athlete Instagram is how you'll find me. That's the best place. I give you the most knowledge in game. I have a YouTube channel, 360_athlete. I try to put some videos up there. We do lives every Tuesday night for free. Submit your questions. I answer your questions live on Tuesdays on Instagram, and then I put them on the YouTube channel so you can go back and take a look at them. Those would be the best places to find me.
Folks, I'm going to tell you, keeping it real, I sent a message to her. She got back into me in a day, loved it, and that's what I like. I hit her on my other page, and she hit me right back. And that's what I like about it. Sometimes you get these people that are too big and they think they're too. Folks, we're all in the same business together. Let's help these young ladies. Me and Coach V don't make a dime. I mean, we make very little, but we love educating young ladies, and bringing somebody like you on our show helps us. One, it helps us, like, hey man, these guys are really trying to help girls get recruited, and they're not just two old men over here just talking girls basketball, but we are trying to do our best to get girls recruited. But that's why I was so intrigued to have you on, man. I mean, my wife, I told her last night we were eating dinner, and she's like, babe, that's great. And usually she don't ever say that. She's like, oh, but she's like, man, that's really great. And that made me feel good. And I mean, I really was, man. I couldn't wait to get off work today, man.
Tony. You was at a doghouse one night.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to get home from work today, man. I'm like a kid at the waiting to open that Christmas present, because I want this to be educated, because I'm going through this myself, and when you got a good athlete and you're like, man, her time ain't come, but you got to trust the process. I think that's what's wrong with us parents. We jump the gun too much, and you never know what's going to happen, because a girl can be hot right now, but at 29, she might have torn her ACL, might have torn her toes, or ears fell off, something. We don't know. That's why you got to wait till your turn and see what all happens. Any closing word, Coach, before we get out of here, though?
Appreciate
my biggest. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Look, he said, Coach. I thought it was something. He's talking to you. Go ahead.
I appreciate what you do. I mean, you educate. It's what we try to do. You educate it from a standpoint of a very neutral base, solid where you're at. Whether it's D3, D2, you're trying to get them placed, and you try to educate them where hopefully that they owe no money when they get done. So the parent didn't pay up front and then have to pay again. They've already paid. So I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing that.
Absolutely. I love it. That's awesome.
We appreciate it. But hey, you got anytime you want to come on, I probably still got 10 more questions, but I love to have you on here in another few months, and we could do it again. But Ms. Carter, I really appreciate you coming on and joining us tonight on Between the Line Girls Hoops, man. What you did tonight is really it's going to help educate a lot of people when they get a chance to go back and watch the show, though. So we appreciate you, okay?
You're welcome. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coach.
Bye-bye. But folks, that's Coach Carter. Like I said, you can find her on Instagram. Like she said, every Tuesday night. And she's real. I mean, her shows is real. Had a chance to watch them. I got a buddy, Timmy. His daughter's going through some stuff right now. Class of 27. She signed with Tulsa. With the new rule, the
Yeah.
5 years. Tulsa kind of took her scholarship back, so she's looking for a home. And I told Timmy to watch the show because there's a lot of education that's going on. She's gonna go play college ball, but she got to find the right home. So that's the thing about it, parents. You got to find the right fit for your kid. Even though your kid goes D1 and everybody wants that D1 cookie because they think it tastes better than the D2 cookie, but they're all made with eggs and milk and sugar. So
You just
it's
make
all the
that
same
up.
at the.
Did you just make that up, Tony?
You like that, Kurt? That was good.
Dang, you made
That boy,
that up.
that boy good. That boy good. But
Yeah,
no,
good.
but I'm just saying, at the end of the day, it all pans out. D1, D2, loans. Like I said, the most important thing is getting a free education, and that's what I'm all about, man. I witnessed it with my son Gabe Johnson, the things he did in college, and just where he's at in life now. What he's doing, being a 3-time national champion in Division II, 2-time state champion in high school, fixing to get honored in the high school, Hall of Fame, and he's gonna be he'll be, introduced in the UCO's Hall of Fame one day. So those are things that that comes from a D2, and just the brotherhood he has from because in D1 kids move in and move out daily. It's very often that you see a team stick together all 4 years or 5 years they're together because they think that the grass is always green on the other side. But Coach, I really like what she did for us tonight. Really educated us. I hope people really tune in and listen to what she's saying because she's the real. This ain't just like I said, she came on the show. She don't know me and Coach from Adam and Eve, but she came on tonight and joined us and talk big stuff. And like I said, I'm excited. Can't wait to go back and play it and listen to it again. But Coach, anything before we get out of here?
Now, usually I'm finding a good guest. You found a good one tonight, Tony. So, congratulations to you. You hit a home run there. That was a good one.
I appreciate it, Coach, man. Like I said, sometimes, man, you got to just branch out and ask people to come join your show. And that's what made me excited. I've seen we've had some good people on here, some college coaches, some good guest speakers. There's people we've asked to come on. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna come on. Then you see them and they act like you got the measles or something. They don't want to come near you, but because you've asked them to come on the show, I'm not gonna beg you to come on the show, man. We want you to highlight yourself. That's what this is all about. You coming on and highlighting yourself. And I just think that Coach Carter, she might pick up 10 more girls that's going to come to her academy deal now because what she's talking about, because everybody needs help. Basketball,
Yeah.
and I think she can help you, maybe, lead you in the right direction, what to say and what to do. There's a lot of other questions I want to ask you. We ran out of time. I wanted to make it a 20. I told Coach it's going to be 25, 30 minutes. But when it's good, you want to stick around. And that's what happens. When it's good, you stick around because it's kind of like eating grandma's ice cream pie. You want another piece. Come on, grandma, make me one more. And grandma like, boy, get back. And so that's what it was tonight. It was good stuff. But Coach, anything else before we get out of here though?
No, good. Good luck to teams that are playing for MAYB Nationals. That's their last go. Congratulations. A lot of kids that are getting scholarships. So good things are happening for kids right now. Exciting times. And maybe for those others, she shared some light tonight. Process and let it happen.
I tell you this, Coach, man, Brooklyn Miles might be as hot as chicken grease, man.
Woo!
She's getting offers left and right. Shout out to Brooklyn's mom sending me a text this morning, man. Told me some encouraging words that made me feel better today, helped me get through my Thursday. Sometimes we need that, but Brooklyn is a young lady that's just, she's getting offers left and right. She's tagging us. She's never big leagued us, and that's what makes this young lady so special because you know what? She's gonna have a tough decision because she's gonna have over 50 offers. You're talking about Deanna Minor. Brooklyn might end up being, you got to think Brooklyn still got another 2 years in high school.
Two.
And so her offer's going to keep going up, man, and she's going to have so many offers she can give everybody on JYD one. That's how many offers she's going to have, but she's earned every bit of it though because you know what? She got a smile on her face, the way she carries herself, and that's what I tell people all the time. If I wanted my daughter to be a role model, look at somebody to follow their footsteps, I would tell her to follow Brooklyn Miles just because of the simple fact who she is. Like I told you, just a child of God, and that goes a long way, and that's why she's so successful. But congratulations to her and all the other young ladies. I think Mara King picked up another one today.
Yeah.
Young lady from Drive Nation, Zoe Ross, just a 2030 reclassified 2030. She picked up her second D1 offer, so congratulations to her. And then all the girls, I can't go by each girl's name, but The ones I kind of know off the top of my head, man, congratulations to them. But we also want to thank our sponsors that help us move this show weekly. Folks, yeah, we dropped another hot one tonight, but we want to thank everybody from being on our sponsor board. We want to thank you guys for putting us where we're at so we can do this great show weekly. You know who you are up there. And like I said, we'll catch you next time on Between the Line Girls Hoops with my man, Coach V. And we want to thank Ms. Ashley Carter from 360 Athlete for coming and joining us tonight. We'll catch you next time on Between the Line Girls Hoops. See ya. We out.